I'm not sure how to begin, so let me start with two thank yous. First, to the March of the Living for this great honor. And second, and critically important, to Nathan Sharansky, a man who is known worldwide as someone who has dedicated his entire life to fighting anti-Semitism and all forms of discrimination, for presenting this great honor. I know this Hanukkah menorah bears my name, but it truly should bear the names of the fellows, students, advisors, and everyone who has worked on behalf of the Center to make whatever contribution we have made in the global fight against anti-Semitism, racism, and all forms of discrimination and acts of terror against communities of faith possible. And on the top of the ladder stands the Center's Executive Director, John Farmer, without whose vision, guidance, and hands-on direction, the Center would not be where it is today, nor would it have been able to accomplish whatever we have been able to accomplish over the past 6 or 7 years. I also want to take this opportunity to say that it is not just me who should be here tonight. It should rather be our entire family, starting with my wife Carol, who has stood with me and taken every step I have taken over the many years we have supported and defended our people in the fight against anti-Semitism, as well as in opposition to racism and all forms of discrimination. And in addition to my wife, our children, and I'm thrilled to say grandchildren as well. All of our efforts in support of the Center have been taken through our family foundation, where our children not only serve on the board of directors, but are senior officers. This has been done because we realize the fight against discrimination has been waged for generations, and I'm sad to acknowledge will continue long after my generation can no longer carry on the battle. The words of Daniel Jonah Goldhagen in his book, The Devil That Never Dies, are as true today as when he penned them many years ago. The devil, after a period of relative quiescence, has reappeared, flexes his muscles again, and stalks the world with ever more confidence, power, and followers. The devil is not a he, but an it. The devil is anti-Semitism. If there was any question at all about the state of anti-Semitism, racism, Islamophobia, and other forms of discrimination and terrorism against faith communities today, globally, one has to look no further than what is happening in Europe and, regrettably, right here in the United States. Right-wing extremism and the rise of neo-Nazis is taking place in many European countries, including Poland, the very site of the extermination camps Auschwitz and Birkenau, where each year the International March to Living leads thousands in a march to make sure the world never forgets the Holocaust and that the words "never again" will mean never again. Yet it is this country's government that has been trying to enact laws that would exonerate the Polish nation from all forms of complicity in the horrors of the Holocaust, despite the reality that such acts occurred. But we do not have to look beyond our own national borders to see the evidence of Goldhagen's prophecy. The massacre of Jewish worshippers in a Pittsburgh synagogue, the discrimination against blacks in many parts of our nation continues, despite having ended our history of slavery approximately 200 years ago, discrimination that was blatantly shown by the use of troops to break up a peaceful demonstration in our nation's capital. The marches and threats against a rabbi and her children by right-wing extremists in Montana. The banning of Muslim immigration into our country. The support of the neo-Nazi marchers in Charlottesville with the words from our then president that there are good people on both sides. And if anything could chill one to the bone, it is the intent of the government of Texas to require educators to teach children that there is another side to the horror of the Holocaust. There is no other side to the murder by the Nazis of 6 million Jews and millions of others. We should all be thankful that General Eisenhower had the foresight to tell the troops, "Film it all," as the concentration camps were being liberated at the end of World War II, so that no one will ever be able to question the horror that actually happened. The March has chosen a Hanukkah lamp for this honor on this Kristallnacht remembrance. Illumination is a perfect way to show the world the horror of this night, about 80 years ago, which ushered in the Holocaust. Saying this brings to mind the words of the song Light Our Candle by Peter Yarrow, written almost 40 years ago. What is the memory that's valued so highly that we keep it alive in that flame? What's the commitment to those who have died that we cry out they've not died in vain? We have come this far always believing that justice would somehow prevail. This is the burden. This is the promise. This is why we will not fail.